Good morning. This is Thor Young with Bear Bull Traders, and I'd like to do a recap on my trades for you today. Took two trades today, one on CrowdStrike and one on PepsiCo. Both worked out quite nicely for me today. Got me well over my profit target, and you know, going out green. So always happy about that. Let me run through what I was kind of looking at with some of these. Had some familiar old pattern come in for my second play, so happy about that. And then did a little opening range play too. So CrowdStrike, we were a little hard pressed for good stocks this morning. Everything looked a little weak. Market was really tentative, waiting on economic numbers. So during our pre-market show, Carlos and Norm really did the hard work of digging through and finding us some good stuff to work with. Thanks, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and ring the bell so you can go live with us in the morning, even on days like today when the market isn't really alive. We still managed to find some good stocks in there to play with. So one of the ones that I particularly liked a lot was CrowdStrike here, back on the chart. On the daily, one thing I really liked about it was that CrowdStrike's been in a downward trend for quite a while, but had found a bottom around 52. Bounced up, sold some more, found kind of almost double bottomed off of 54, and then it was gapping up on some good news, an analyst upgrade, back up towards this $60 level. So in my mind, what I'm thinking of for CrowdStrike is that I think we're going to break out of this daily level. So I'm looking for a long on the open. So for me, ideally, what I want to do is I'm for what I call a bounce play. Some people, might consider this play to be a falling angel, which is basically the starts to sell off really heavy at the beginning, drops down a lot with profit taking, and then you buy at the bottom, and then you ride the angel back up to heaven, right? And Crowd definitely qualifies as that. I call it more of a bounce play because it didn't happen real fast, but so basically on CrowdStrike here, when the market opened, when I take my entries on these, what I'm really looking for is I'm looking for some positive, some positive indicators on my level 2 that were headed up. And I wasn't really getting that. We did have some asks sitting well above the ask. Above 59.50. So I really thought that had an indicator of some potential upward movement, but wasn't entirely sure. So I went ahead and took a soft position when I got in. It was a half position for this that I would normally take. And a good thing too, when you don't get your solid setups and you're not getting all the information you want, it gets to be a little bit more gambling for you to go in heavy, that's for sure. So what I wanted to go ahead and do was I went ahead and went in a little bit soft on it. So I went in soft, it pulled back, and it hit the 50 moving average here on the 1. And then when that happened, which was also coincided with $59 even, when that happened, you really saw the asks start to flood in. The bids lost. We're losing the battle there. I went long, went back up to my full-size position now for that because, my stop was just beautiful. $59 my stop at most would have been like $58.75. So I was really able to go in deep there and got a nice pop all the way up to 60-30-ish. And that was real nice. And then it failed, came back off, dropped all the way back down, and I stopped out there at when it got back to $59. So far, that was looking real good. That had me to the majority of my profit target already on that opening trade. I had a really good day yesterday, so I almost just quit trading for the day without hitting profit target. And decided I would just kind of hang out and see what was going on. So I flipped over to my buddy PEP here, PepsiCo, and let's see. Let me scoot over here. PepsiCo with the SPY had a nice dump and sold off. Bad economic news came out, I think, and it really dropped the market off. But you notice as soon as that market sell-off stopped, PepsiCo kind of got right back into its normal trend that it was in before. It had a nice, good opportunity for a rising devil on Pepsi from the looks of it, which is the opposite of our falling angel, right? We have a rising devil, which is the stock looks really strong because it goes up, gets really powerful, and then when the bids start to flood in, it just dumps and it comes all the way down. Look at that. That would have been one heck of a move, and you could have rode that down for a little bit. So, but I was looking at it a little bit later, and what I did is we had here, once it got back into its pattern, especially on the 5-minute chart, you can see here that we're making higher lows on the 5-minute and that we're starting to respect this 20 moving average quite nicely. So my thought is as I zoom in here, is what I'm seeing here is an ascending triangle. So at 137.45, you can see we have kind of a pivot here, and then it comes up and touches for again here, and then I went long when it touched for the third time for a breakout. The reason I went ahead and went long here instead of waiting for another pullback was actually because of the asks. There were a lot of asks. Again, when I take my setups, I'm not just looking for one thing. I'm looking for a whole picture. I need the pattern to be there. I need the catalyst to be there, which PepsiCo has a good catalyst today. And then I need to see strength. If I'm looking for a long, I need to see strength on the ask side. I need to see the bids coming up and losing ground while the ask is gaining ground. Now, this might be a little longer because some people have asked for some of the level 2 information. So what I'm talking about is what happens is you will see that the asks over here will start to actually pull away from the asks. So you'll see a big block of orders, like let's say there's 100 here where this one is. You'll notice that at 139.53, you'll notice that the asks start to slide and get further away, 139.60, 139.74, and they're moving. And at the same time, the bids that'll be over here start sliding up towards the ask. And that means that the bids are losing ground and that the asks are winning the battle, because the asks are pulling away and the bids are pulling up. So what that eventually does will exhaust the bids, and then the asks who are sitting here will force the price to rip up. All right, so that's what I'm looking for. So when I look here, I see a lot of asks hanging out on the top side trying to force the price to go higher. And then I see the bids are starting to lose ground. Every single, 5 minutes, the bids are rebidding and they're bidding higher and it's coming up. So I get long here. I get a partial here, which reduces my risk a little bit, which was great. I also took the partial there because a lot of those asks were sitting at 137.60, and I wanted to make sure we didn't fall off once they got filled. So, and I just went ahead and got my partial, and then it was just a little bit of a waiting game. Took about 10 minutes for everything to really get going, and then the asks won the battle, and we had a nice pop, and I got covers all the way up to 138.50, which on PEP, I was 500 shares deep on PEP, so, that's quite the run. $1.50 on the majority of those shares, so that knocked me through, and then some on my profit target. So I hope everybody finds this information useful, because we have my favorite ascending triangle here, and then we had the confirmation from the asks saying that, we see this going up, this is where we want to buy at, we're going to move the price up, so I got in. So I hope everyone's having a great day. I hope you're all staying green, and thanks.